I'm Robert Gentry. I'm the Sevier County, Arkansas Sheriff. I was elected and took office in 2017. I started my law enforcement career in 1994 and worked for the Sheriff's Department up until 2002. And during my early years, I took a strong stance on drugs and drug enforcement, put my cases together, submit them over to the prosecutor, and my stance in that day and time was prison for as long as you can get. I noticed a change in my heart and thoughts about that time period because I come to an understanding within myself that even though he's a convicted felon, he's still a person. He still has values. So I took office in 2017, and the jail was a mess. Working on policy, we've come to the determination that for every inmate problem, if you look hard enough, you'll find it to be a personnel issue. So we pretty much put the thumb on the personnel and enforced some policies and built some new policy and rearranged some policy and kind of changed the overall inmate attitude inside the jail.
I'm Chris Walcott, jail administrator here in Sevier County. I started my law enforcement career in 1996, and in 2016 I took over the jail. I believe it was March, and I'd go home and I'd ask my wife, what did I get into? Because it was hell. We had employee problems, we had inmate problems. It was almost like a zoo, but at the same time it's your typical Arkansas jail. In 2016 in the jail we had 67 physical fights. 12 of those fights was on jail staff. About $15,000 worth of property damage inside the jail. So we was looking for something different. What we're doing in our jail is totally different. I don't believe there's maybe one other jail in the state right now that's doing anything similar to what we're doing, especially a small jail. As I took over in the jail, what I did notice was the repeat offenders. And we started programming services. We noticed that substance abuse that we're dealing with, substance abuse is actually a symptom of a lot of the real problems, because the guys and women that we have in our jail right now was the victims that we tried to do something for when I was working the street. They're those children that were abused or sexually molested, and now here we are 15 and 20 years later, and they don't know how to deal with their issues, and we're kind of a dumping ground. That's basically what the jail is. The jail is a place that we dump all of our social problems. If they have a mental issue, let's put them in jail so they don't hurt somebody. If they have a substance abuse problem, let's put them in jail so we don't have to deal with it. So pretty much you get to really look at the individual and see what services you need to start pointing them toward to be able to get some of the help that they need. But in turn, it also helps the county. It helps the county save money. It helps the state save money, because ultimately it's all about the dollar. And I believe we're starting to see an overall change in attitude with people on the street that law enforcement comes in contact with, because I get phone calls in the middle of the night from our patrol deputies that said, "Hey, Walcott, I've got somebody on a traffic stop. I stopped them for no tail lights, and now they're breaking down their crime because they're asking they need help to get off of meth. Have you got anything I can tell them or any information that I can give them?" So there's a need. There's a need in our county for more programs and services on the outside. It's really sad that people have to come to jail to be able to get the help that they need. We actually have people call us and ask us, what crime do we need to commit to be able to get into jail to get in your substance abuse program? And we'll tell them, you don't want to do that because you're gambling going to prison, but they're desperate.
With all of this positive community feedback that we're getting, we can't forget we have people in the community that really don't know what the RSAT program is, or actually they get the RSAT and programs and services all confused, because each program and services is its own thing, based on its own volunteer. It has its own volunteer. The RSAT actually costs money, and there's some in the community that feel as though it's a waste of tax dollars. we're finding that there's a lot of underlying mental issues that go along with drug addiction. You're addicted to drugs because you're trying to cover something up or you're trying to hide something.
I came into the jail one day and I hear this voice, "Mr. Walcott, can I talk to you a minute?" And I walk over to the cell door, and this lady looks at me and she said, "Mr. Walcott, I think the judge misunderstood what I was asking her. I asked her for y'all's program because I need help." And I looked at her and I said, "Well, what did she give you?" And she said, "She gave me 30 days in jail, but I want the program." And I looked at her and I said, "You realize the program is a year long?" And she said, "Yes, I know. But the judge gave me 30 days. I said, "Well, let me make sure I understand this. You're wanting to trade your 30-day sentence for a 1-year sentence in the county jail so you can get the program." She said, "Yes, sir, that's what I want."
My name is Leah Hansen, and I am the clinical director and a licensed professional counselor at Chenal Family Therapy in DeQueen. We are now offering support and clinical services at the jail with inmates in the RSAT program as well as those in minimum security. Our new therapist, Kathy Stallard, will be leading groups with men and women once a week, and Sandy Wilson, I, and Kathy will all be splitting doing individual services with men and women in minimum security who are needing therapeutic services to work on anxiety, depression, unresolved trauma, and other emotional, family-related issues that interfere with their day-to-day functioning. Kathy will be using a skill called dialectical behavior therapy. There are 4 main skills that she will be teaching with the inmates: mindfulness, distress tolerance, emotion regulation, and interpersonal resolution skills. We are very excited to be a part of what's going on in our community and to help with services as much as we can.
The jail in itself, the people that Chris has talked about coming to visit, they walk in and they said, "This is a setup. This is a setup. Do y'all even have inmates? Because our jail is quiet. There's not doors getting beat on. There's not cups and glasses being thrown and screaming and yelling. I mean, it's quiet and clean." They said, "I don't smell inmates." Well, we have a pretty good cleaning program, and our inmates don't scream and holler. And Chris got an opportunity to send a couple of his jailers to a facility that is not run like ours, so they could see what it used to be like here. And they came back amazed that they went to this other facility, and it was just unreal how it was being run.
Well, they actually went there to help them set up objective jail classification and help them get started with programs and services. And we actually had them reach out to us. It's been about 3 months, 4 months, and they said they can't believe the difference that it's already made in their jail. So that in itself is a success story. We go back and we talk about the negativity and the naysayers. If you ask them why do you not want to help these people? Why do you not like programs and services? They can't give you a legitimate reason other than, "I just don't like it."
My name is Megan Lindsay, and I'm a correctional officer at Sevier County Sheriff's Office. I've been a correctional officer at Sevier County Sheriff's Office for the past 3 years, a little over 3 years, and the programs and services we have there are amazing. I mean, they help people. I myself have family members that have, lost their lives to addiction. I've had a little brother who passed away at the age of 17. My uncle, he passed away at the age of 33, I think. from addiction, alcohol, and drug use. And being on the other side of it, I don't want other families have to go through what I've been through. It's tough. And I hope the people that go through the program accept the help and use the system to work on themselves because, being on the other side of it, it's not a good feeling. It's really not. Since the programs and services have started, we've seen a dramatic change in the jail. We have we have maybe 1 to 2 fights a year, if that. The attitudes, the behavior, it's not inmates against jail staff anymore. It's more of everybody's on the same page. You get the respect and you give the respect at the same time. They look forward to going to the classes and the programs, and that right there keeps their behavior on track so they don't have to miss out on what, the volunteers come in and bring because they enjoy it.
My name's Barbara Salazar. I work at the Sevier County Sheriff's Office as a correctional officer. I've been there for 2 years. The programs and services mean a lot to me at the Sevier County Jail because I have a family member that till this day is battling with addiction. My job at the jail is to actually see these people succeed in this program. We have some that when they first get there, they're angry, they're mad, they're high. But at the end of the day, when this program is over, you see a major transformation in them. We help the volunteers to get these inmates to where they want to be in life. Some people are discouraged because they don't have anyone to give them positive words, where we have enough staff there that do care, that give these people the words that they need to hear, whether it's tough love or not. The thing is, with these ladies especially that I've talked to, they need that positive role model, if not a role model, those positive words, because they don't get that from anybody else. So in a sense, they look up to us. And as long as we're able to give them that positive word that they need to hear to know that somebody cares, they're willing to get out there, maybe make those changes so that way they can help somebody else as well. If we can have one person just to make that change, there's a possibility they can get out there and they can stop the domino effect of the families that are being broken from addiction.
When every mama that comes into jail and talks to me about getting their child in our program, they've all got the same look on their face. That look of desperation, lack of hope. Every one of them, including my own, because even my family has been affected by substance abuse.
So the program that they were offering is called RSAT. And so he was accepted into that program. And it has been a lifesaver, not just for my son, but for me.
My name is Vicki Dunn. At one point in my life, I had got to where I denied 2 of my children from ever coming back to my house again. With the RSAT program, I now have my kids back. My kids are now raising their kids, and I can be grandma again instead of mom.
And we're on our 3rd cycle, a grant cycle now, I do believe. It's right. We spent right at $300,000 worth of federal monies. Last year, in the last 12 months, they said it looked as though the county was out $13,000 for the RSAT grant. That's actual real money that Sevier County taxpayers had to pay, $13,000. Out of the $300,000 worth of tax-based money that's been spent, we're probably sitting close to $2 million money saved on the state of Arkansas just for them not going to prison. Well, who pays for this? Who pays for Arkansas Department of Corrections? Taxpayers of the state of Arkansas. So we've saved the taxpayers that much money. And you can turn it around and say you've also, because what it costs to keep an inmate in ADC is just about $3 difference or $2 difference for what it costs to keep an inmate in Sevier County. So we've taken that same inmate and we broke that chain, and he's no longer a repeat offender.
Since programs and services, I told you about the 67 physical fights in 2016. That number in 2017 dropped down to 12 physical fights in the jail. Property damage went from $15,000 in 2016 to 0 for 2017 in the jail, you started seeing an overall inmate, the inmates' attitude started to change.
And that's where a lot of people, even in-house, don't understand. The recidivism rate is what we're after. That's the key word that the whole grant was based on, to reduce recidivism. And the last numbers that I got, Arkansas Department of Corrections recidivism rates 56%. Arkansas Community Corrections is 36%. And the Sevier County Residential Substance Abuse Treatment Program, currently, as of right now, sitting on 7%. Well, we have some more that's probably not going to make it, but there's a lot of difference between 56% and 7%. There's even a great distance between the 36% and 7%. So that we're talking about inmates that have come into the jail that are not first-time offenders. We're talking about the repeat offenders, the ones that are come to jail. When they go to prison, when they get out of prison, you can go ahead and write down on the counter within 3 months, this old dude's coming back to jail because he can't help it. And we've actually turned some of those around. So the money, we did some figuring on the money.
Well, my name is Josh Herwick. I am the lead pastor at First Baptist Church in DeQueen, Arkansas. And I've been here for about 5.5 years. And when I came, the drug problem here in DeQueen was rampant. In the middle school, the high school, even in the local college here, in families, and it was breaking up homes. Some, it was even making homes very difficult to live in because both mom and dad were all into the drugs, and they would, some of them involuntarily introduce the drugs into the kids, and then the kids would get addicted. And they would carry that on into teenage years and their adult years, and would then pass that on to their kids, and it became a widespread, rampant, generational problem that was passed on, and and so when the sheriff and some of the guys up at the jail, as well as some other people in town, began this program. Having tried programs in the past and other things hadn't worked because the people would get out of jail and get right back into the lifestyle, hang around the people they hung around before. And so the sheriff and some of his guys who really care about the community and have, honestly, a genuine love for the very people they're arresting in a way. And so this RSAT thing came up, and it was almost a let's try it because nothing else is working. And so they got into that and introduced this, and it changed lives phenomenally. I mean, the rate of people going back into prison had the percentage dropped way into the low single digits, whereas it was much higher than that before. It was more of a lifestyle shift, a mind shift. And at the church, after this, the program was 90 days long, and people coming out of the program, we would have a celebration dinner at our church. I mean, they would almost go straight from the jail, from finishing the program to our church, have a celebration dinner. Then they would go over to another church in town and have an actual graduation ceremony of getting out of the program. And again, the sheriff and all those guys were there celebrating these people coming through this program and making this progress. It was an incredible thing to see.
Hi, my name is Claudio Ocampo, 12 years old. Because an abusive father I didn't have a mother, and I started living in the streets when I was 12. Then eventually I became an alcoholic person, and I started doing drugs like when I was 17 years old. So, and I was living in drugs for the most of my life, maybe 20 years involved in drug addiction and alcohol. And it was 9 years ago when finally quit doing everything, and I am in a sorority state right now. And it was because I knew Jesus Christ, and he saved me, and I start living a different life from that point on to today. But 2 years ago, I became a preacher in this church in Weeks, Arkansas. Now I'm working with persons in jail. Uh, we're gonna start doing services right there, and we're working in fatherhood program with them and doing recovery, celebration recovery every Friday too. So uh, this is something great because you can see how they how these people is really changing, and they are getting this big change because of the program. There's a lot of people, volunteers right there that they really help. They really love to help others, and I believe the that's the point of this, because when you don't have the desire to do something, it's hard. But when you have the love for others and you help, everything works. Everything works, and I can see that in these people, and everyone is being part of the program, right there.
I mean, one of the key factors is the volunteers. We have volunteers that don't miss a day.
Hello, my name is Lynette Gilmore, and I am a reformed drug dealer. Um, God rescued me 24 years ago from selling drugs, and since then, I have been back in giving back to our community.
Hi, I'm Rita Dorsey. I'm an addict. My story kind of begins back in 2011 when I was in a car accident. Had to have surgery and some hardware placed in my neck. And with physical therapy and ongoing, I became addicted to the opiates.
Hi, I'm Hattie Vance. I'm a grateful believer in Jesus Christ, and I have victory over methamphetamine and alcohol. And my story was I was spent 17 years in active addiction, alcoholism, selling drugs, and doing drugs, supply my own habit, and I eventually started cooking methamphetamine. Ended up getting busted in Sevier County in 2006, and went to prison from 2007 to 2011. And then, and so currently I have about 13 years in sobriety.
Hi, my name is Sharon Snow, and I am a recovering alcoholic, and I'm involved in the recovery program that they're doing here at the jail. As part of my recovery and as part of somebody else's recovery, hopefully, through what I do with them. My main focus is anger management, and my attempt is to have them realize that anger is not a real thing. Anger is a byproduct of the things that has happened in their lives that they want to control in some way, and anger is the tool that they use, and it's not a very good one.
I'm Betty Smith, and I volunteer at the Sevier County Jail every Thursday for the last 11 years. I'm 91 years old, and in my journey with Jesus Christ, this is the most marvelous thing that's happened to me.
I'm Wes, and I'm alcoholic, and by giving back what I've so freely been given to me, I have an opportunity to go into the Sevier County Jail once a month right now, the first Monday of the month, to carry a AA meeting to the inmates. And one thing I do tell them when I carry the meeting in there, every meeting I do, I say, I don't know why you're here. It's not none of my business. That ain't why I'm here. I'm here to let you know that where you at now, you can let this be your bottom. Because rock bottom is a solid foundation. It's the place to start building on your life.
Hi, my name is Tanya Walcott, and I am a volunteer in our community. And my husband is Chris Walcott, the jail administrator here in Sevier County. And we saw a need for group on the outside after the ladies get out of the jail, and I have volunteered to facilitate the class Hannah's Gift.
Well, hello, my name is Vicki DeVore, and I'm a teacher with the Horatio School District, and I had the absolute pleasure this past summer of being asked to take part in the RSAT program here in this county, and it really not only made an impact, I believe, on the people that I had the pleasure of working with, but it impacted me as well.
Drug addiction doesn't care. It doesn't care how much money you have. It doesn't care what color you are. And we, as a community, have just got to really start digging in and figure out how to deal with those problems. Because our idea in our jail, let's make them a better person when they leave than what they was when they came. Because if we can make that happen, we help everybody, including ADC. Because I have to back up. My opinion about ADC is ADC wasn't doing their job. ADC was worthless. And that's not the case. ADC has got a lot of good programs. It's just a matter of having that individual with the right mindset when they go to ADC to say, I'm going to seek those programs and services, and when I get out and I come back home, I'm going to be a different person. And that's what we're seeing in our jail. That's what we're seeing with every individual that's in there. Your sheriff and yourself are brave enough to step up to the plate because nobody else is willing to take a stand and do it. Thinking outside the box, going against the norm, embracing the ridicule of the Hug a Thug program, or having somebody look at you and say, oh, you're just a pushover. But yet, when you look at the individuals in the program and you look at the community as a whole, you can see the major impact that it's having on the entire community. Because now, you look at that face of desperation and lack of hope, you see that smile on everyone's face, and you see there's hope there again. There's hope there that their loved one will get better. There's hope that our community will do better. There's hope that we can fight drug addiction before it ever gets started. And that's evident in our graduations. Who would ever think that you could have 250 people come every 3 months to watch about 11 to 15 people complete a substance abuse program and show their support? There's as many tears in that room as there is a river. It's very, very moving.
The block parties were actually donated. The hot dogs, snow cones, the popcorn, all that was in the water. It was all donated by groups in the community. Right. So there was no tax dollars paid for those block parties.
Is right now our community is probably 2.5 years ahead of the rest of the state if they was to start today. The rest of the state, they're trying to figure out what we're already doing. Because we've had individuals from West Memphis, Pocahontas, Stone County. We've had people from every corner of the state, Fort Worth, Texas, New Jersey, that came here and said, what are you guys doing in your community? How are you making it work? And basically we tell them, it's just make the community a part of your jail. They'll feel like they own it, and they will make sure that it succeeds.
I'm Erica Dickerson. I'm a student from Horatio High School, and the substance abuse presentation has showed me a lot. It brought more insight to myself. It gave me a new perspective, showing how many students might have the problem. They might have their parents dealing with the same thing at home, but we don't know because that's their personal lives. And the fact that people came and showed us what happened to them, they told us their story, that it was strong, I guess, that they were tough enough, that they were brave enough to come and tell us. Because going through something like that and then coming out and telling everybody, they have to be brave and they have to have a strong heart and they must want people to be more careful than they have been.
My name is Catherine Alexander and I am from Horatio High School. The substance abuse presentation personally affected me because a lot of the people that were up there telling their story, I knew. And it helped me by opening my eyes to what can actually happen. Like, they got clean. That was their choice. And a lot of people don't get that. I know a lot of people in my community who don't get treatment like they did. And they don't get the satisfaction of being clean because they have never felt that. And the coffin really, bringing that out there, it really helped me to realize that a lot of people die from substance abuse, whether it be alcohol, drugs, anything. I have a lot of family that have passed away from drugs. So it really touched me personally and helped me to discover, like, I don't want to go down that path.
Hi, I'm Ginger Young. I'm a counselor at Horatio High School. As we look for activities to do with our students during Red Ribbon Week to make them aware of the problems in society, our Sheriff's Department came to school and they talked to our students. I believe it had the stronger impact of us getting a guest speaker because these were people that our students knew. These were people that may have been in a relationship with some of the other family members, and it touched our students. The silence that occurred after the presentation and seeing the students walk the hallways, it meant something. Far more beneficial than us giving them a bracelet for Red Ribbon Week to wear pajamas on Tuesdays to try to stomp out drugs. That statement summed it up for our kids.
My name is Veronica Ozura. I'm the career coach for Horatio High School. The program was very beneficial for our students because it put it in a real life scenario. It wasn't some people that they didn't know in a video, or it was somebody that they knew or knew of, and it was people from our community. A really big impact that I saw was that as they were going through their different scenarios, they were giving their own scenarios. They were giving their life stories. And so it became more real. Because they were so real, I think the kids could feel that it was a real thing to them. At one point, I think they even had to stop and regroup because it got that real to them as far as everything that they had gone through and I guess had been able to strive and thrive. Our students, I saw, was beneficial because those kids that didn't speak up, they didn't have to speak up. It was that quiet in the hall or the nervousness and just kind of knowing that they weren't alone, that there was other people that were going through this, and this is real in our local small hometown. It's not a big city thing. And so it was nice to see that there was people that were getting over it, but also that it was easy to start and why it was so important to avoid it from the get-go.
It's hard for me. I'm addicted to food. I mean, I love biscuits and gravy, and it shows when I stand up. You can really tell that I like to eat. But I can explain what overeating's all about. I've never been addicted to marijuana or methamphetamine or hydros or any of that. So I really can't tell you how it feels to be addicted to that, and then how good it feels to not be addicted to it. Our success goes back to Chris and our attitude changing, our attitudes towards people changing, and then our community involvement. That community's got to buy in. They've bought into this concept that we're going with, and it's I feel it's real successful at this point.
Because the people that's in the jail, they're your neighbor, they're your family member, and when they get out of jail, they're coming back to live with you beside you, or do their shopping beside you. You interact with them every day. Because some of the individuals back there have never achieved anything. And to look at a 30, 40, 50-year-old grown man and say, I have faith in you, I believe you can make it, and seeing tears roll down their cheeks, and they'll look at you and say, no one's ever told me that before.
We're sitting on about 120 individuals that have come through the jail that's went through the program. We're at 70% success rate. So I don't have to be able to do the math in my head for 120, but let's just say there's 100. Okay, that means 70 people have went through this program and completed the whole year. The court system has bought into our program, but yet there's people that don't know. There's people that don't understand, and I don't know how you educate the public. Maybe this documentary will help educate the public as what's going on, what's really going on.